this video, you're going to discover how to raise your vibration and create the life that you want. You're going to discover the different levels of consciousness and how to manage your thoughts and behaviors in a way that you're not so much pushing and forcing your way towards your goals as much as what you want is pulled towards you. All right, because there's a common belief system in society right now that in order to get what we want, we have to force it and put a lot of willpower and just sacrifice our sleep and give up time with our loved ones and do everything and put everything on the line to achieve what we want. All right, now when I saw this play out in my own life, I was taking a lot of massive action, and I do believe that action is the most important aspect of getting what you want. But when I look back at the lens through which I was taking action, I realized that I did not feel like I was enough. Okay, I was carrying this emotional baggage, whether it was shame, whether it was guilt, whether it was desire. It was through the lens of trying to get something from outside, because I did not feel like I was complete on the inside. All right, so although I might have been taking a lot of massive action, it was through the lens of feeling like I was not enough. Okay, but as we can learn to let go of that emotional baggage of desire, of guilt, of shame, of feeling like we're not enough, then we can go on and take the same amount of massive action, but it's through a very different lens. Okay, it's from the lens of feeling like you are enough, and then you can shift from trying to get something from outside to what you can actually give. All right, and I'll quote Mufasa from the new Lion King movie, which is a quote that really stuck to my head, and he said that, "Simba, while others look for what they can take, a true king looks for what he can give." All right, and that's really the idea I want to put across to you, that it's not about what you do, but it's about why you do it. All right, because when I mentioned that I was taking a lot of massive action, whether it was trying to get in a relationship, whether it was trying to build a business, get more clients, whether it was my relationship with food, I was also trying to get something because I did not feel like I was complete on the inside. All right, and as I said, learn to let go of that, then we can realize that it's not about what you do, it's about who you are. Because I was doing a lot, but I was doing it through the lens of being the same person, and that just led to a lot of unnecessary suffering, you can say. All right, so with that being said, my name is Mo Salim, and my mission is to elevate human consciousness. Now, consciousness is awareness, and awareness is attention, and what you give your attention to will determine your level of consciousness. Because if you give your attention to the fear mongering that's taking place on mainstream news and media and stuff like that, then you will be caught in that paradigm of fear, because your level of consciousness determines the lens through which you view the world. And when I talk about these levels of consciousness, what I'm referring to is the consciousness scale, which was brought forward by David R. Hawkins, who came up with it through behavioral kinesiology, whereby he was testing muscles based on different intellectual stimuli, and he found that muscles tested stronger at these levels that you can see over here. For example, on the lower end of the scale, it's emotions like shame, guilt, desire, fear, and then right in the middle we have the critical inflection point, as David R. Hawkins refers to it as, and that is right where courage is. And then above courage is, you know, stuff like willingness, neutrality, when you can actually begin to separate yourself from your identity, from your ego, and look at your thoughts and what's going on. And then, you know, we elevate towards love and joy, and at the very top there is enlightenment. All right, so this is a very important scale that has really elevated my understanding of my own operating system, of the way that I'm going about things on my own. So really it comes down to what you give your attention to, right? Because if you are resonating at these lower frequencies right below courage, that's the feeling of not being enough. You're scared, it's all driven by fear, and you're trying to get something, and that is what we don't want to do, because it causes a lot of unnecessary suffering on not only yourself but everyone else that you're interacting with, because you don't feel like you're enough and you're trying to take something. All right, so really the first step is in elevating your consciousness is being aware of where your attention is. Because if you are giving your attention to negative people, negative media, anything that's negative and causing you to experience these lower emotions of fear, of desire. For example, when I scroll through social media too much, I can see the tendency in myself to compare my own life with what I see on other people's highlight reels, and then that causes me to experience some sort of shame for not achieving that result, or guilt for not having, made more progress at this point either, and it's not serving me. All right, so understand whether what you're giving your attention to is serving you, because your level of consciousness is, like I said, the worldview through which you look at everything else, and whatever worldview you choose to adopt, that is what you will find evidence for. All right, so the first step is really getting aware on the programming that's taking place, on where your attention is going. Are you concentrating on stuff that is lifting you up and empowering you, or are you focusing on stuff that is, like I said, fear mongering and negativity? All right, so first step, as always, is just awareness on what's going on in between your ears. That's like the number one practice that I can recommend to everyone, is just sit and observe what's going on. That way you can elevate towards neutrality as well, and begin taking action based on awareness, and rather than just the drama that's going on between your ears. All right, so in the philosophy of reality transurfing, which was brought forward by, that's a lot of sun, brought forward by Vadim Zeland, who was a Russian quantum physicist. He came up with his philosophy of reality transurfing, and in that philosophy he has a concept known as pendulums. All right, so he describes it in this way. He says that when a mass of people are thinking the same thoughts and doing the same deeds, then on an energetic level there is an entirely separate energy current that forms, and it's like an information structure that is completely separate, and it goes on to hold the people accountable, the very people who created it. It holds them accountable. All right, so pendulums don't only apply in humans. You can see them in nature. For example, when there is a bacterial colony, when there is an ant colony, when there's a flock of birds flying, when there's a pack of lions hunting, all of these are examples of pendulums where the same individuals of the species are aligned in terms of what they're thinking and what they're doing. Okay, so this is very important, because so many times I've noticed in myself that what I'm striving towards is not what I actually want. It is what I have been conditioned to think that I want. Okay, so really, again, what I can recommend is just getting awareness on whether what you are striving towards and what thoughts you are actually having are actually yours or not. Because when I go through the practice of just sitting and observing the drama taking place between my ears, sometimes it just gets so crazy, and I can trace those thoughts down to trace their roots down and really look at where they're coming from, where are these weird thoughts coming from. A lot of the times it's traced down to childhood, right? Whether it's parental programming, whether it's schooling, whether it's some traumatic event that took place when I was like 7 years old. Those events are affecting us to this point, and a lot of times that trauma is making us perceive a certain situation in a suboptimal way as well. And if we can just get awareness on that pendulum, which is trying to feed on energy, because when that entirely separate energy structure is created, its sole purpose is just to feed on your energy. So common pendulums that we have in society today, the education pendulum, you have to go to formal education, go to college, go to university, get a job, that's the standard script. But all these pendulums are breaking down as we are waking up in the age of information right now. People are waking up to their true nature of who they really are as eternal souls, having temporary human experiences. Another example of a pendulum is the medical pendulum, where they think that you need to get meds in order to feel healthy. Whatever symptom you are expressing, just take this med, suppress that symptom, and ignore the root cause. But even the medical pendulum is breaking down, the educational pendulum, and there's just a lot of pendulums right now that are existing in society, and you have to be aware of which pendulums you are giving your energy to. Okay, because like I said, a lot of our energy is directed towards stuff which is not true to us, and the reason for this is because we are under the influence of a pendulum that is trying to take our energy. All right, and really it's about getting aware on whether what you're striving for is actually what you want, or whether it is something that you were conditioned to want. And we'll talk a little bit about how you can know the difference coming up, all right? But the next thing I want to talk about is also what Vadim writes about in his philosophy of reality transurfing, and that is the topic of importance, all right? So he writes that the natural tendency of the universe is to strive towards harmony, balance, equilibrium. But when we assign too much importance to what we want to achieve or what we want, then we are actually growing a psychic distance between us and the object of what we want as well, all right? And the reason for this is because when you are assigning excess importance to something that you want, then you are vibrating at a frequency of not having it, okay? Because when you really want something, then you are also reinforcing the fact that you really don't have it. And that is when the universe comes into play, because like I said, the natural tendency is to strive towards harmony, and excess potential of any kind, which is created by excess importance, is sets the path for balance forces to come in and reinforce what that frequency is attuned to, all right, or that vibration is attuned to. So the two types of importance are inner importance and outer importance. So inner importance is when the ego tries to express how important it is, all right, by basically comparing itself to someone else. Outer importance is when we associate too much importance with some outside outcome, like the attainment of some goal or desire that is outside of us. And both of these importances, or different types of importance, create excess potential, and balance forces come in to actually reinforce that. So really a lot of times we are, when we assign excess importance to something, like for example in a relationship, if you're trying to chase someone, then it also means that they're running away, and it becomes harder to actually get in a relationship with them, right? Because if you put them on a pendulum, then you're actually increasing the distance between you and them as well. So really it's about reducing your importance, and just reducing your importance so that there's not so much excess potential, so that you're not so much battling with all these obstacles and barriers in your way, because you have already assigned so much importance to the attainment of a particular goal. And once you can reduce the importance, then the barriers in front of you will end up, I won't say go away, but they will not be as scary to you either, all right? Because you are entitled to the action, but you're not entitled to the fruit of the action. You're completely detached from the outcome. You do what you need to do, but there's no importance assigned to it, because even if things don't work out, you'll be totally fine. That's the mindset that I'm trying to embody right now. And as I move towards where I want to go, my intention is to create, a bigger business, reach more people, and have more clients going through my programs. All of this type of stuff is what I want. But if I attribute too much importance to it, then I will also be vibrating at the frequency that I don't have it, all right? And the frequency of your vibration determines the direction of your destiny. And if you are caught up between pendulums and assigning too much importance to stuff, then it will be difficult for you to actually move towards where you want to go, because that's what you've made it. You said it's important, you think you're important, and as a result, balance forces will come in. You spend so much time battling with these balance forces that you'll have no more conscious reserves to actually make decisions that serve you and what you want, all right? Because a lot of that energy is wasted. So now you might be thinking that, if I don't attribute importance to something that I want, then how am I supposed to get it? Because there's a saying, oh, burn the boats, man. Just like, you gotta do everything you can to achieve what you want. And it's totally true, but it's more about intention, all right? And this is again from the philosophy of reality transurfing as well. And rather than having a goal or trying to force your way, you just intend. And Vadim defines intention as the resoluteness in the decision to act and have, all right? Inner intention is the decision to act, and outer intention is the decision to have, okay? It's a subtle nuance there, but inner intention can be described as willpower, as forcing your way, and that's obviously fine and well. but outer importance is the way that things play out. All right, and the way to actually make your vibration one of effortless ease, where what you want is pulled towards you, it's about using outer intention. And inner intention becomes outer intention when the mind and your heart are functioning in harmony. All right, because like I said, you know, the influence of pendulums may lead us down the path of trying to get something, and we climb up the ladder of the rat race or whatever it is, the corporate ladder, and then once we get to the top, we realize that we still feel imbalanced inside. We feel that inner sense of tension, and that is because you were striving for someone else's goals. All right, you gave all your energy to the pendulum, which made you think that once you get to the top of the corporate ladder, you'll be able to achieve your goal, you'll be happy or whatever it is. But you were playing the game of the pendulum, and it was not something that was true to your heart. All right, so the way to find out if your mind and heart are in harmony is to first understand that the mind thinks and predicts, the heart knows and feels. All right, so really, if you are monitoring your inner state of peace, and if you're making a decision and just monitoring how your body feels as a result of it, then that will be a good indication of whether your heart is in the task or not. All right, now this might sound a bit esoteric to you, and even for me, I was like, yo, follow my heart, what does that even mean? But the truth is that the heart knows. All right, and if you are doing everything that you can, and or what you think you need to do, and you still feel a state of inner tension, then that is your body telling you that you are not on the right path to where your actual purpose lies. All right, you might be attributing too much importance to something. You might be playing the game of a pendulum that doesn't serve you and is just taking its own energy. So monitoring how you feel is the most accurate assessment that you can use to figure out whether your heart and your mind are in alignment or not. All right, and just because at the end of the day, you could achieve everything, man, but if you still feel like shit, then it's all for nothing. All right, because Tony Robbins also said that success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. And if you are still feeling like shit, and even after having achieved everything, then you know that you did not listen to your heart's call. Okay, yeah, at the end of the day, what matters most is what you think about yourself when you're by yourself. And if your mind and heart are functioning in harmony, then you will slide towards your goals, and what you want will be pulled towards you, rather than you having to push and force and, you know, put all that willpower towards going towards it. Because these are ideas that I'm trying to, you know, grasp my grip over myself. Like, you know, I've definitely been of the hustle and grind mentality, trying to do videos every day, all of this stuff, which is something that I intend on doing, but in the past you're just trying to like force it, and right now I have to change my personality into becoming or being someone who does that without having to do it while being the same person. All right, so the structure of personal transformation is be, do, have. All right, so many of us try to do more to have more, but we are still the same person at the root, and that is what ends up holding us back. All right, so be aware of the scales of consciousness. I would definitely recommend you check out David R. Hawkins' book Power versus Force. It is the seminal work which actually brought forward the scale of consciousness and describes how he came up with it, goes deeper into how to use that information as well. And pendulums is a huge one, which is basically being aware whether your goals are actually yours or not. Just always being aware of the thoughts, because so much of our thoughts come from what we give our attention to. So be aware of what you're giving your attention to as well. And then importance, man, just try to reduce it, reduce your inner importance. None of this like, you don't matter in the grand scheme of things, but also you were just a part of the grand scheme of things, here to play whatever part you're here to play. You're not superior or inferior to anyone. That's just the ego playing games. Obviously there's stuff that is easier said than done. I'm still dealing with it, but putting into words, making this video about it will help reinforce the ideas in myself as well. All right, and thirdly, it's all about intention. Okay, resoluteness in the decision to act and have, and inner intention becomes outer intention when your mind and body are working in harmony, and you can be sure of whether they are or not based on your inner state. What if you feel tense, if you feel stressed, if you feel anxious, then that is a sign that they are perhaps not in harmony right now. All right, with all that being said, I hope that this video has been as valuable for you as it has been for me, and just getting these ideas out there, because this is stuff that I've been carrying on my, you know, just reading about and trying to practice into my own life, put into practice per se. And yeah, just obviously making videos is a huge part in deepening my understanding of them. All right, and if you want to dive deeper into the step-by-step processes and blueprints that I've created in elevating my own vibration through, you know, lifestyle habits like sleeping, moving, eating, all of this stuff determines what you give your attention to. All right, because food is information, and everything that you do is information that you are basically being exposed to. All right, so you can click the link in the description to learn more about what I have to offer in that regard and everything like that. And if you found this video valuable, click the like button below. It'll really help me feel better about my ego, I guess. Something like that. But yeah, click the subscribe button, click the bell button if you like what you see and want to see more videos like this. Leave a comment below about the number one thing that you're struggling with right now, and I'll do my best to help you out. All right, with all that being said, this has been Mo Salim. I rambled a lot in this video, but it's all good. I'll still upload it, and I'll see you soon.